Being a Men's Mental Health Month, what do you have to tell your fellow men out here?
Thank you. I think what I can tell men during the men's mental health, I want to talk to them and tell them that it's okay not to be okay. I want to talk to them and tell them that any challenges they just face, it's a normal thing. They don't need to hit on the corner. They don't need they don't need to judge themselves. They don't need to see like they are not normal. They are normal. Whenever the challenges they face, let them be vulnerable. The question maybe I can ask as we continue, who do they share the information to?
Okay, how do power dynamics in both professional and personal lives impact communication and intimacy?
In our provisions, whatever you are, maybe if you are a boss, just know that you are a boss in the office. Whenever you go home, just know that you are a normal, you are a man. Like you said, you can't go and impose the rules you do it at work, you impose it at home. It's going to be a problem. Sleep is very important. Sleep, it contributes to our body to generate the testosterone hormones. So for a man, if you want to have the masculinity that we are looking for, you have also to know that sleeping is very important to a man. Whenever you have a problem, sleep the same bed, because that one is going to help them solve a problem. Actually, according to our research, we just said those people who, whenever they have a conflict, to sleep together, that conflict with them, it absence.
Okay.
So you don't need to fight. You don't need to. So the better way to have a conflict management. Sometimes you can avoid, and as you avoid, yes, I see some people maybe complain like, how long this guy has been doing like no. The time is better answer for a conflict. For conflict, if you cannot be able to solve a conflict, sleep in the same bed. And also there's importance of sleeping together as a family. Remember, there's some of the hormones we get as we are sleeping without even having an act of sex. All right? So for our health, it's very important. That's why, according to the research, we get that we get those people who sleep together. Singles to die earlier. Even if they have money, even if they have what they die.
Karibu sana Bwana Japhet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
For today, we are going to address a topic on men's mental health and sexual disorders. Before we start, what is men's mental health to you, and what is sexual disorder to you?
Thank you so much. I think I want to start by saying that men's mental health is about is actually the mental health is about the health in actually in what it contributes for, you know, when we talk about health, we have to say we have to talk from two perspectives. We can talk about physical health, and then we talk about mental health. When we talk about mental, it's about how people think, how people make decisions, and maybe what are some of the I can call it the disorders. Also, I can say that maybe what are some of the diseases that can affect our memory. What are some of the diseases can affect our thinking? What are some of the because you know, when you talk about from the what affects our brain and even our mind, it affects all the body. Remember, mental process and mental illness also, it affects our five senses. It can affect the sense of touch, it can affect the sense of smell, it can affect the all the things, these things that contribute. Remember, if we do say that no health without mental health. So mental health is very important. And as a man, if you have, when we say, just say that that man has a very good mental health fitness. So it's okay mentally. It's when he is able to do the things, okay. He can be able to, maybe when he wake up, okay, he has a very stable family. He can be able to have a sex lifestyle. And then we talk as a man now, that's when you get that we talk about that man is mentally okay. And whenever we say that maybe mental illness is whereby maybe they are unable to have a normal life, they have a problem in their life, they can be maybe they have a stress, they can be able to have anxiety, they have a depression. These are some of the things that affect their mental health. For the mental well-being of an individual, it's when they operate in a right manner, they operate in a way that it's normal and they function very well. And also when you talk about sex disorders, these are some of the disorders, these are some of the challenges, maybe these are some of the challenges they get whenever they have sex intercourses. You remember, as we talk about this mental thing, we talk about the sex disorders. For you to say that you have a good sex lifestyle, you are free from other challenges. And then when we talk about mental, also when we talk about sex disorders, they can be caused by many things. We have some of the physical causes. Also, we have psychological causes. And then the physical causes, really, we talk about even the diseases that can affect the physical diseases that can affect the physical body. We can talk about high blood pressure. We can talk about diabetes. We can also talk about other things which are related, right? We can talk about even when you have a problem, maybe you have accident, maybe you have accident which is going to affect your sex lifestyle. And also we can talk about, now when you talk about psychological here, we talk about depression, we can talk about the stress that they affect your sex lifestyle in a negative way. In a way that you cannot be able to enjoy your sex lifestyle. In a way that it affects the way you function sexually. So this one is going to affect as a man, so they are going to be affected sexually, so they are not going to function very well. So these are like the diseases. And these are some of the factors, the diseases that can make a man not to have a very good sex lifestyle.
Thank you for that. And I do believe there are couples out here who are going through the same problem. And maybe my question to you, how can they address their sexual dysfunctional problem without shame and blame?
All right, thank you so much. The one thing that I want to talk to the families, maybe while married and the couples, this month as we are creating this awareness, is that we don't need to feel stigmatized by sharing how we are feeling. Okay, remember, sex is for two people, and if there's one person who's feeling like the needs are not met, obviously you're going to have a conflict, and this conflict can make your relationship to break. It can cause your relationship to have separation. It can cause you to have divorce. So for them to prevent this, they need to be open. Okay, they don't need to feel shame. As a man, I want to talk to all men. Whenever you feel like if your partner feels like you are not satisfying her, you don't need even to satisfy yourself. You don't need even to see, like, you don't need to take it personally. That's an issue that needs to be addressed. That's an issue that you need to seek help from the expertise. You know, whenever you don't solve the issues of sex lifestyle, I like Chinua Achebe. There's a quote which you say that when the bed is not shaking, there is quarrel at home. So what does it mean? It means like if there's no sex at home, people are not enjoying sex at home. Obviously, we are going to have the home is going to be home of anarchy. People are going to fight. And actually, with my experience, I've dealt with the issues of a family thing. I can tell you, sex can make its home to be terrible. Sex thing can cause even gender-based violence. Sex can cause the things can make people to hate other people. It can make people to have bad attitude to other people. Maybe they can have more. So women, they can have, if they are not satisfied sexually, they can have bad attitude towards you. So it's not weak when you share your problem. It is not shame when you feel like I'm not satisfied my woman. I'm feeling like I have no libido. When you share, you feel like when you share like my woman wants more and more. When your wife is high sex money, it's normal. These things will happen. You can get that you as a person who is low sex monias, you have been married by the woman who is high sex monias. When it is people too in the marriage, they're going to have compatibility issues. So the woman, if the woman is going to be high sex monias, obvious, he is going to need more and more and more and more. And when you get that he needs more and more, this guy is going to feel like, okay, this lady wants more and more, and then me, I can't give that more. What is going to do? So he's going to feel shame, and then this is going to be the cause of the arguments and disagreement in a relationship. So whenever they feel like if the woman is going to be high sex monias, the man is going to be low sex monias. So what does it mean? When you talk about the man is high sex monias, it's whereby maybe he wants he have high appetite for sex, and then when you talk about those people who have low sex monias, you get that these are the people who have low appetite for sex. And these people obviously can end up being married each other. So when they marry each other, what they need to do, they need to address this. They need to address, when they address these issues, they look for the expertise to make them understand how they can deal with their problem. Otherwise, if they are going to feel shame, if they are going to remain silent, the issues they are going to spill out, and it is going to end in tears. Sex issues can make a relationship to end in tears. Sex issues can make the people who love themselves so much they can end up even fighting and killing themselves simply because they are not being satisfied sexually.
Being a Men's Mental Health Month, what do you have to tell your fellow men out here?
Thank you. I think what I can tell men during the men's mental health, I want to say that I know there's a lot of many men are struggling to stress, the anxiety. They're trying to see like they're fighting the battles in their mind and even in their brain that they're not working. I want to talk to them and tell them that it's okay not to be okay. I want to talk to them and tell them that any challenges they just face, it's a normal thing. They don't need to hit on the corner. They don't need they don't need to judge themselves. They don't need to see like they are not normal. They are normal. Whenever the challenges they face, let them be vulnerable. The question maybe I can ask as we continue, who do they share the information to? Do they seek help when they have a problem? Welcome us today as we are going to make men's mental health. We make impact on men's mental health. Thank you.
Thank you. As a man, I feel empowered by that. Thank you for that. So, what are the most common mental health challenges men face, especially those in high stress professions like law enforcement?
Thank you. I think there's a lot of challenges that men face nowadays. I think more, if I can start with right now, many men, I think what they are struggling, we can get many men are struggling with sex dysfunctions. When I talk about sex dysfunction, it is whereby maybe you get in their sex life, maybe they are not able to fulfill the needs maybe they want to. For example, we have many men who are struggling with maybe erection dysfunctions. We have some men who are maybe they have low libido. We have some of the men maybe who feel like they don't satisfy their sex partners, of which is causing a lot of anxiety, is causing a lot of stress among men. Another problem I think most men are facing is about how to deal with divorce and separation, and also rejection. What I can tell you, and I want to talk to all men, is that rejection is part of life. And whenever you feel that you are rejected, you don't need to hate yourself. First of all, what I want to talk about as a masculinity man, what you need to do is all about, the key is about what do you talk about yourself. You need to put yourself first. And whenever you feel rejected, you don't take it personal. Just know that when people reject you, they reject you with many reasons. They can reject you maybe because they cannot be able to deal with it. You are worthy. They can reject you maybe because of psychological projections. They can reject you maybe because of their lack of feeling of your worthy. So you don't need to hate yourself. You don't need to take suicide. Just know that rejection is part of life. Just to know that divorce is part of life. And then in life, there's some of the things that you need to, as a man, you need to know that you need to prepare for it. And this is some of the things that we need to understand. There's some of the things that you can control, and there's other things that you cannot control. You can't control someone's opinion. You can't control someone's decision. You can't control someone, whatever they think about you, you can't control. So you need to accept that. Whenever you are in a relationship, what you need to do is about accept anything. Change is inevitable. So if people change with time, just accept that and love yourself is the key to handle that. When we come to you have asked that maybe in the law enforcement, I know the challenge many in law enforcement, what it normally changes is about relationships, how to deal with relationships. As you know that many in law enforcement, mostly they spend most of their time at workplace. They often go home. I know even that issue of dealing with relationship is also another challenge to law enforcement. I want to talk about those law enforcement officers, the KDF, the police officers, those people who are in prisons who are working away from their families. Kindly, one thing I can tell them is about take time to love yourself, talk to yourself, put yourself first, and then know that whatever you can control is about you can control your decisions, you can control how you think, you can control your thoughts. This is what is going to make you, whenever you are being rejected, whenever your relationship is going to face the turmoil, that's what is going to help you. It's about you, and it's about your future. It's not all about what people can do for you. It's not all about, even if you can be rejected, just be focused with the life that you want and the legacy that you want to build.
Thank you. That is well put. And substance abuse is becoming a very, very common thing. And out of curiosity, what role does it play in our sexual disorders as men?
Thank you so much. I want to say that I think that drug use and drug addiction has been a menace in our country, even the world. I want to create awareness, and I want to talk to our men that whenever you use the drugs of you use the banky, you use the marijuana, you use all the kind of the drugs. These drugs also in a sexual life as a man. Just know that I want to say first of all they do they can cause some of the sexual dysfunctions. They can cause about the erection the dysfunctions. They can make you even not be able to withstand whenever you're having sex intercourses. So I want to say that what normally drugs do. They give us they make our brain to stimulate the dopamine hormones in the brain. So the moment you take drugs, like now you take the Hardcore, you take the Bangi, whenever you take these ones, they make sure that on a high amount they make your brain to produce a lot of dopamine. And the more your body is being used to produce a lot of dopamine, this is going to make you to feel like, okay, the more you use drugs, actually, you are going to have insufficient of testosterone hormones. So when you are going to have the insufficiency of testosterone hormones, you cannot withstand in sexual intercourses. This one is going to make you, it's going to be a task. I want to talk to all men. If you want to have a very successful relationships, you need to know you can avoid from drugs, and also you can check yourself like it's not I like there's a lot of notion going around like if you want to have a very good sex life, you need to take alcohol so that it can make you to have a sex life. That's a notion that does not exist. Even if you take alcohol, it can give you that time, it can give you the pressure of that time, it can make you, but the question is, after some times, are you going to stand? Because if you are going to use drugs, you can't use drugs every time. The more you are going to use drugs every time, you are going to be addicted. So meaning, when you are going to have a relationship with your wife, you are not going to enjoy that life when you will not be taking drugs. So it is very important as men, we take care of ourselves. We avoid the drugs. Whenever we take the drugs, let us be aware that the drugs affect our sex, affect our sex life, and our sex life, we have said it causes some sex dysfunctions, whereby we can have the erection dysfunctions, we can have, you get and mature ejaculation. You get that people cannot ejaculate. They ejaculate very fast within 2 minutes. This is whereby you get people talking about 2 minutes. So these are some of the factors that contribute. Also, we have some of the other factors that contribute to sex dysfunctions. Drug abuse is one of the causes, and we need to be very careful, and we need to take care about ourselves. So whenever you take a drug, just know that you are at a high risk of being infected with sex dysfunctions.
Thank you again for that. And how does the cultural expectations of masculinity affect men's willingness to seek psychological help?
Thank you. I think there's a lot of when you talk about culture also, it has made many people to have a different view. Maybe the people have feared to seek the help. I want to talk to all men that this life, if you want to have a very productive life, first of the thing that to know that it is not weak when you seek help. Whenever you feel that you are overwhelmed, whenever you feel like there's something that is giving you pressure, the good thing that you can do, and being strong, is by standing and maybe looking for the help. Let's say, for example, we are talking about sex disorders, how it can affect men. Like now, I know whenever I try to find I interact with my clients, the first question you get that most people are leaving, even the causes of divorce, the causes of separation, is because of sex. You get that whenever, as a man, if you are facing a challenge, say for example, you are not satisfying your wife is complaining, the first thing, the one thing that you can do, it is to seek help. From help, you can get a good advice on how you can manage your sex life. Whenever you feel quiet, you feel silent kills. Silence can make a relationship to plague, because you don't want to talk. I want to talk that as men, as we are after this masculinity can be whereby we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. When I talk about vulnerable, is whereby we have some of the experts like psychologists, we have some of the people who are supportive system, we are able to share. So masculinity, if we talk about masculinity, sometimes it is we don't look into culturally what was happening, but when we talk about the real masculinity, it's whereby whenever you have a problem, problem, you should learn how to share with it so that you can get more perspective, so that you can get more expertise, or now you can get help. I want to talk to all men that there's this notion going around that most people feel like maybe you can get because of, we have said sex dysfunctions, it will be caused with a lot of, with many causes. One of the thing being it is can be because of genetic factors. And another thing that you can get, it can be because of drugs. It can be because maybe we have those ones which are very physical. Here we talk about maybe we have some of the diseases that you can be affected your sex life. We have diabetes, we have high pressure, we have mental disorders, we have like depression, we have stresses. These are some of the things can make your sex life to be challenged. So I want to talk to all men. Whenever you feel like you are not, your sex life is not normal, you feel like there's a problem, you don't need to feel yourself like you are so weak. You don't need like to keep it to yourself. The more you keep it to yourself, the more you're going to show your relationship. Just come out. If you have like you have been working, maybe you have been having a good sex life, it has come the time whereby maybe you are only there 2 minutes. Whenever you have sex, you only do it 2 minutes. That is something that is treatable. That's something that it can be cured. You don't need to hit yourself. You don't need to live like you are so stressed until you have a mental illness. No, just come, call us, come to us, we talk, we advise you on how you can make your sex life to even last for more longer than it was expected. I want also to talk to our ladies, as it is mental. We can't talk only to our men because it is men's month. A sex life also, whenever we have these problems, whenever we deal with men, we need to understand them. This causes it is an unhealthy thing. You don't need to destroy your relationship simply because of these sex dysfunctions. We have said it's something treatable. It's something whereby we have all the measures that we can help the men to know how to deal with the challenges of sex dysfunctions. So I want to say that all men, be ready to share, be ready to leave alone about the cultural masculinity. We need to work out of that. We need to learn how we can share so that we can have a very quality life, and then so that we can know how to manage sex dysfunctions. Thank you.
Thank you. That is well put. And I know out here there are men who are wondering, like not everyone has an idea of what mental health is. So to what signs should men and those close to them watch for that might indicate a mental health issue?
Thank you so much. I think those ones who are maybe living, we can't live a world without men, and that's why today we are taking our time and sacrificing our time to create awareness on the mental health about men. One of the things where you will know that the men are undergoing, maybe they have stress, they have mental issues, it's about lack of sleep. Sleep is very important. It contributes a lot into man's sex life. And then if the men are going, for example, if they have what you call insomnia, it's whereby maybe they lack of sleep. Maybe they can sleep for a few hours, and then they wake up. They wake up very early in the morning. Maybe they can wake up at 12. They can wake up maybe than the normal time. Actually, this is an issue. So this is whenever you see a person is having difficulties in sleeping, they have insomnia. This is a thing that you need to seek. You need to start discussing maybe how you can help that man. Another thing I want to talk about it is when men. Before I even move to that, sleep is very important. Sleep, it contributes to our body to generate testosterone hormones. So for a man, if you want to have the masculinity that we are looking for, you have also to know that sleeping is very important to a man. So if you want to have a very productive sex life, just know sleep is very important. Another thing I want to talk about is all about men. Another thing that you can realize they have mental illness is about lack of concentration. They are unable to concentrate. Whenever you see the man is unable to concentrate, just know that there is a mental issue. There's a mental problem maybe this guy is going through, and then you need also to talk to him to see how you can help. Another thing I want to talk about, if you want to realize the man is going with stress, is all about the raw libido. Raw libido is whereby maybe you get this man, if he was having a good sex life, you realize that this time the energy for having sex is going down. When he's going down, just know that he's going under mental problem that you need to seek help. Another thing also I can talk about it is when you get a man, maybe the sex dysfunction. I want to take again, the sex dysfunction is also another issue that you need to know as men. We need to know that whenever you have a problem in sex. Maybe you are at 2 minutes, you have premature ejaculation, you have the issue lack of desire to have the sex. These are some of the signs that you are going, you are having a mental problem. You need to seek help so that you can help, so that you can enjoy your sex life. So I want to say that those are some of the key things that you need to look. And another thing also I want to talk about, which is very important, which nowadays I think contributes a lot into the men's sexual health, it's about stress. You know, one of the things I want to talk to our people to know that sex life doesn't need a lot of stress. If you want to have to enjoy sex with man, you should know how you can manage stress. Stress doesn't go with a man because it affects, and the stress can cause it can cause a lot of sex dysfunctions. So as a man, you need to know that sex, whenever you have a stress, it's going to affect your life. Whenever I want to talk to our men concerning about stress, men, you should learn whenever you are living with a woman, you need to learn that how to control stress in your family. You don't need to argue too much. You don't need to because the more you argue, the more it's going to cause more problems. And I want to talk to our women who are handling men that whenever they want to have a very successive sex lifestyle with the men, they should be there to give them peace. They should give them peace. They should, whenever they are going to bed, whenever they are intending to have sex intercourses, they have to make sure that they are free from stress. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And that is the best approach. Thank you for sharing that again. And how does unresolved trauma manifest in men, especially in their personal and intimate relationships?
Thank you so much. I think when we talk about trauma, you know, trauma is something, those are difficult circumstances, maybe made a man, maybe they are struggling, maybe the events men went through. It can be even in terms of men. We have some of the men, I think these people don't talk about it. We can have men who have been raped. We can have men maybe after they have had sex with the people, maybe the sex they didn't want, right? It can be maybe in terms of the relations. We have some of the men who have been rejected. We have some of the men who have sacrificed for the woman, and then at the end of the point, they don't get it. I want to talk that this trauma, it can make men maybe to have one of the things that this trauma can cause to a man. To man is about men can be very selfish. Whenever you see the men are very selfish, it's because you may get that trauma that they went through. Also, another thing I want to talk about. You know, men you know, men learn lessons. And when they learn lessons, maybe through the bad experience that they went through. So I want to talk like men, whatever they have trauma, they need to seek help, because this trauma can even make their relationship to have difficulties in relationships. Remember, trauma also can make a man to be insecure. They can make a man also to feel like whenever they deal with the relationships, they are hyperactive. They sense anything. They just see that they are just a rat, that something bad may happen. And this one also, it can be a difficult into a relationship. So it is very important men know that they have to deal with their trauma for them to have a successful relationship in the future. And then another thing I want to talk, when you talk about trauma, I want to talk to all men that one of the things that as a man you need to know, there's a book which I read, and I think I will share here. I read about the heart of a man. The heart of a man, actually, for it to be strong and for it to be hard, you need to go a lot of trauma to realize yourself that wherever you are, to be strong, you have to go a lot of trauma experience. And whenever you go trauma experience, as a man, don't allow the trauma experience to define your life. Don't allow the trauma experience to make you feel like to hate all the women around. I want to talk to all men that if you went through a bad person who was mishandled you as a man, never think like all women are going to be the same. I want to take that women are very important, and they contribute a great role into our lives, because just look here, like if just imagine a world where there was no women, how was that world to be? So whenever we are in a world, it's like in the market. In the market, we have the quantity, and then we have the quality products. So as a man, you need to know whenever the experience. If today you have been traumatized by another woman, by one woman, doesn't mean that another woman is going to traumatize you. So you need to be careful. Allow yourself for the experience, for the exposure. Thank God. Whenever such relations, bad experiences, you face bad experiences, and the traumas that you have, just put it as a learning lesson, and don't allow it to define the relationship that you are going to be in the future. Another thing I want to talk about trauma, how it can contribute to men's sex life. Trauma also can contribute a lot in men's mental health. You can get that men they can it can cause even due to trauma. Men, whenever they face circumstances, it can make them to have the hunger past. You get that because and some of the issues of from the past because of trauma can make a man to have to have to carry those experiences forward, and then they can cause hunger. Also, another thing I want to talk about: if we can't solve the issues of trauma as men, we can be able to be breeding to the wrong people. So we have to learn that trauma, it is experience that we went, and we don't need to carry our traumas to the next relationship that we are in. It is okay to have trauma, and it is okay when you seek help about your trauma so that you can be stressed. The experts can help you how to deal with trauma so that you can have a very good and successful relationship in the future.
Thank you for that, Mr. Japhet. And in your work as a relationship coach, how often do sexual dysfunctions appear to be linked to mental health issues like anxiety or depression?
Thank you. I think, we have said, sex starts from the brain. So as in men's sex, it starts from the brain, and then now it goes to where it is supposed to be, how you are supposed to do it. I want to say that men's the anxiety, depression, they contribute a lot. The more you are going to have the depression, the more you are going to have depression. The experience I have and the exposure I have with my clients that I've dealt with, I can tell you, when you have depression, when you have anxiety, it's going to make you to have low libido. It's going to make you to have dysfunctional disorders. You can have the issues of erection. You can have the issues, maybe lack of desire to have sex. This one is going to cause a lot of problem into a relationship. So I want to talk to men that whenever they feel they're overwhelmed, whenever they realize that they have a problem, maybe they have a depression, they need to seek help immediately. This is not something that you can carry forward, because the more you carry it forward, the more it is going to be complicated. And if it's going to be complicated, you are going to have the issues in your relationship. I want to talk to those ones maybe who have been infected by who have been affected by mental health. I want to talk to them and say that it's okay. If you have been having depression, if you have been having anxiety, if you have been treated with any issue, you need also to seek help. Whenever there is issue of sex life, this thing I want to know that there's a lot of stigma, and sometimes men can have a problem of sharing. I want today whoever is going to listen, who is going to view our video, to learn something that sex life has to be, let it not be a thing that you need to hide, because the more you hide, the more you're destroying yourself, and the more you hide, the more you're causing more stress to yourself, the more you're going to have anxiety. But if you seek the expertise advice, I know you can have a very good life. I can give an example. We have a time like I think we have heard from the news, we have read the newspaper, like whereby maybe when the relationship has been ended, the lady will just say like, this man had a toothpick. It can be able that man was at 2 minutes. This is the thing that is making men not to share. I want to talk to all men. If you can seek the expertise advice, if you can seek the advice from those people expertise who can help you, you can be able to redeem your 2 minutes to go to 5 minutes, to go even to 10 minutes. You can be able, even if you don't have a desire, we have always alternative way, and we have a solution to our problems. Our problems, let us not be silent to our problem. Let us seek help. When we seek help, we have to have a new life, and a life that we cannot even disappoint our partners and even our relationship partners, so that we can have a good life. Never end your relationship because of depression, and because you think like you can't. That it's normal, and it is okay. It's very normal whenever you have sex dysfunctions. It is normal to have 2 minutes, to pray 2 minutes when you have anxiety. It is normal sometimes to have low libido when you have mental cases like anxiety, stress, and depression. So you don't need to kill yourself. This is something that's treatable. It's something that we can manage so that you can have a good sex life.
Yeah, thank you for that. My next question was, I wanted to ask you on strategies that maybe couples can use maybe to build and maintain a healthy relationship, especially based in the world of sex. And one of the strategies you've mentioned is them approaching an expert. What other strategies can they use?
Other strategies I've said they can use. One of the strategies I want to say that from the expertise is about if they want to have a good sex, it's all about they need to have a good communication. And then also they need to be vulnerable. As a man, you need to be vulnerable to your wife. You need to be open up. And also, and even when we talk about maybe opening up and then having good communication, I mean, whereby if as a woman you feel like you are not satisfied, feel okay to say that I'm not satisfied. Give me more, right? When you talk about this, obviously you get a solution. And another thing also I want to say, talk about, we need also to know that some of the factors which can affect us not to have a good sex lifestyle, we need also to discuss. You know, it's not all about one thing, it's many things, okay?
Yeah, true.
It can be even the diet. You need you as a woman also and as a man, you notice some of the diet that we need to take so that you can have a good sex lifestyle.
Yeah.
And these ones we need also to have to know that most men, they need to eat a lot of food with a lot of vitamin D. They need to take about the foods which have the zinc. So these things, it is something that we can discuss. Another thing I want to talk about which affects the relationships, all about as a couple and as a family, they need to know how to conflict management. It's another cause of a problem. It can cause the couples and even the family not to have a very productive family thing. So one of the things that they need to know, I've told you, whenever you meet yourself, you're in essence, we are two people who are coming from different lifestyle. You come from different families, obvious your expectations cannot be the same. Whenever you have a conflict, obvious it is normal to have a conflict, it is normal to argue, it is normal to fight. But what I can tell our people is that they need to know that with that conflict, you have to know how can we solve a conflict. In a relationship, you can't enjoy sex lifestyle if you are quarreling every time. You can't enjoy sex if you cannot. You are people who cannot solve a problem in a family. So if they can be able to employ a good conflict management, they can enjoy sex. Whenever I feel like we have a problem with you, can we speak? Can I forgive you? Okay. Whenever you do that, you can sex. What I normally get nowadays is that people, whenever they have a conflict, you get that a woman is running from bed, going to stay in another room, going to place a friend suicide. That one is killing a relationship. What I normally tell people who are married, whenever you have a problem, sleep the same bed. Because that one is going to help them solve a problem. Actually, according to our research, we just said those people who, whenever they have a conflict, to sleep together, that conflict with them,
okay.
So you don't need to fight. You don't need to, so the better way to have a conflict management. Sometimes you can avoid, and as you avoid, yes, I see some people maybe complain like, how long this guy has been doing no. The time is better answer for a conflict. For conflict, if you cannot be able to solve a conflict, sleep in the same bed. And also there's importance of sleeping together as a family. Remember, there's some of the hormones we get as we are sleeping without even having an act of sex. All right? So for our health, it's very important. That's why, according to the research, we get that we get those people who sleep together. Singles to die earlier. Even if they have money, even if they have work, they die earlier. Those people are married, right? So we need to know that this thing, like now you see the numbers of divorce and separation is going high. Look to the cases of like gender-based violence is going high. It's because we have not been able to know how to deal with conflicts. If we be able to have conflict as a family, if we can be able to solve conflicts, also it can contribute for us to have a very good sex lifestyle. Another thing also I want to talk about as a family they need to do, also they need to know how to handle their stress. Because stress is another thing that can be a terrible in sex lifestyle. So men and women also, they have to know the proper way they can manage their stress in the family. That is stress being in the family. You know, stress being in the family, it's okay to have stress in the family, but it's not okay to when you don't manage your stress. It's going to have a point. And then, you know, as men, you know, it's not like women. Women, they can have sex at any time. Even if they're not feeling okay, they can have sex. But men, they don't. We have said that the sex of men is starts from the brain. So if they are mentally disturbed, do you think they can have good sex? They can't. So we need to know to raise good points. We need to create awareness and people to know that in a family they need to know how to solve this. Conflict are inevitable, and the arguing is inevitable. And then now we don't need to make it to have the long, you take a long time to solve a problem. Why should you do that? You don't take to say, in a relationship, in a better relationships, you need to know that we have, the more you learn to solve a conflict, the more they don't take things very seriously. This is a you are very human. You are not complete, you are not perfect. Okay? It's so it is two people who are imperfect came together. So what do you expect? You expect to have a problem, right? That's what you expect, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. And yeah, like it's a good thing you bring this approach of like the mistakes people make. Like one you've mentioned, we don't face the conflicts, we stonewall or avoid it. And what are other mistakes that men, especially men, makes in a relationship that affects their sexual life, and how can they be corrected?
All right. I think one of the mistakes I can take is about the arguments.
Arguments.
As men, actually, we sometimes if we want to show your masculinity, you don't need to argue with men. Because the more you argue with the women, the more it's going to make it uncomfortable. As men, we need to communicate and we remain assertive. I mean this by saying, like, you don't need to argue. You know, women by nature have totally different emotions, and they can be able to raise words over you. They can be able to be complaining and again and again and again. They can have something. But as men, what you need to do, we don't need to argue. We don't need to. We don't need to just satisfy. Whenever there's an issue, we don't need to satisfy the issue that has happened. We need to communicate, and once we have communicated, we keep quiet. We are not to be there to say let us maintain. But another thing I want also to speak about respect. A man, what makes a man, it is respect. In a relationship, men, they don't need to demand a respect. You don't need to demand for it. You don't need to just respect someone to give you respect. That's something that it makes a man. And if they don't, whenever men chases the respect, whenever you want to beg for respect, that one, I think it is a challenge, it's going to be a challenge in your relationship. Another thing that men need to know is about another problem men face in relationships about men, the lack of maybe they don't have boundaries. As a man, also you need to have boundaries, and then your standard is you don't bargain your standard. You don't bargain for your boundaries. There comes what makes a relationship with boundaries. You have some of the lines that you don't need to cross. If someone shows you disrespect, what should you do with them? What should you be even having with them? Just know that what events there are for women. You know, there's some of the things which I would always tell people. This thing of relationship, these things of marriage, these things of sex, they have constant symbols that you cannot talk about. And this is the same thing that I also have a challenge with the modern youth. You think like, we have some of the things we have done. We have done a lot of research on this. Whenever we have issues in the relationship, there's some of the things that we have not bargained over. We can have bargained over as men. Men need respect. Men also need to have boundaries. The more you have boundaries, you need to respect yourself. Number one, you need to be respected in a relationship. Number two, also, there's some of the things that you can accept, and there's other things that you cannot expect. And as men, we say that I have seen men always. I advise men that they put themselves first. Look at what is happening right now. Many men have committed crimes simply because maybe they were unable to deal with their emotions. They didn't have the boundaries. If you put yourself first, if you have boundaries, you don't need to explain to about somebody. Look at what is happening nowadays. The people are taking relationship. The people want money, but they don't want to be responsible. Our ladies there, they want money. You give them money. They don't want to be responsible. So as a man, you need to seek someone who's responsible. If you deal with a man who's irresponsible, take him to your mom. You are not a rehabilitation center. You can't be a rehabilitation center.
True.
Take him back to the home. And whenever you protect yourself, you protect for the future. The boundaries from the word go. Whenever you see that there's some of the threats that is going to affect the relationship, leave a boundaries. You don't need to overreact. Another thing I want to talk to men, another challenge many faces are about emotional regulation, which is very important. Whenever we get it is okay to be emotional, but it's not okay to be when you allow yourself to act emotionally. You have to protect yourself and you have to regulate your emotions. There comes a time people can need to diminish your name. There comes a time people can disappoint you. They can even take your money. As we are here, I've lost a lot of money. through ladies, through relationships, but I've never remained back. Every time I keep on moving. It's because I want to talk that the circumstances, the opinion of other people doesn't need to affect a man. As a man, you don't need to be affected. Just know that whenever people do something, you have to protect you for yourself. There comes certain people, there's other people who sometimes they are looking money because their families didn't have money. So they want to fill the gap that they were not given by their fathers. So, like now, if you don't have money, you don't need to kill yourself, right? Men by nature, the way we are created by nature, we are created by people who are very quiet and people who do our own things. And there comes that whenever we get anointed, we need also to look sober ways of dealing with the issues. If you feel like you have been disappointed by people, who else will speak? Don't keep it to yourself. What makes many people to react and maybe to have anger pursuits whereby we don't share? Our mind, the way it works, we don't need to accumulate. The more we accumulate our mind and even our brain, the things, the more it will become at least it's going to be past. We need to have the penetration. How whenever the issues are so meant to us, we go somewhere, we talk. We have a support system. That's when we can be able to save our relationships. And the more we speak, the more we can protect. There's some people's opinions. If people, I have said it and again, I will repeat that there comes a people that can disappoint you. We need to check on that it's not our weakness. Some people can do it because they feel, because that is their weakness. Somebody's weakness. Don't allow somebody's weakness to define who you are. Don't allow somebody's maybe his own opinion to define who you are. Don't allow circumstances. There comes as a man you go through a lot of circumstances, difficult circumstances. Don't allow yourself. The only thing you can do is about you write your own story. You can write the own things. Your self-talk. What do you tell yourself? How do you plan your life? Just think that you have a lot to play. You have a purpose. Never forget your purpose. And the moment you forget your purpose, you just women. The moment you forget yourself, women are there and they will be there. But ask yourself what you need to be remembered as a man. If it's to have a great family, you can have a great family. Another thing I want to speak also is about men do is about social media, use of social media. As men, let us know that there's some of the things that we cannot avoid. Relationship itself, it has the procedure and it has the way it has to be done. Let us men, I want to say, let us avoid at all costs. We avoid dating people from online. I've seen people losing and who have been affected so much. Whenever you see someone in TikTok, avoid those relationships. Because a relationship is whereby we invest. We have some of the procedures. The first procedure, the second procedure, third procedure, how the relationship takes. You can't get a person from the Facebook, you want to marry that person, obviously it will backfire. Take the normal rules. Know the person, don't be in a hurry, don't be in a haste to have sex with someone. I've seen people who have got someone from the Facebook or from TikTok and then they end up having sex and then what they are being told you have been given with the pregnancy. And then after the pregnancy, after you have made the decision, you realize that kid was not yours. Yes. So we need to know ourselves. Let us learn the hard way that we be procedural on our dating. We be the people. Let us not people. Things don't change actually. It's only the technology that changes. People remain the same. The principles that were using by my dad to date, I'll just use them because actually, what does it change? It's social media, right? So we don't need to. Let us not allow ourselves so much to be so modest because it's going to make us so weak. Yeah.
Thank you. What is your take on the rising case of porn-induced sexual dysfunctions, especially among younger men?
Thank you so much. I think one of the things I want to talk about, men to be aware, whenever they have to deal with the issues of porno, maybe exposing themselves to pornography materials, whenever they deal with it, it's going to make them to have, it contributes a lot to men to have sex dysfunctions. One of the things that it causes that you get at people, whenever you expose yourself to pornography materials, whenever you deal with pornography induced sex, this one is going to make your brain to release a lot of dopamine, which is sometimes the more you are going to be used, the more your body is going to defend more that you do that. So whenever you expose yourself to high dopamine level into your brain, when you are going to have a relationship in the future, obviously it's going to have a problem. Well, one of the causes that you get at the pornography, those people who are used to pornography exposure and pornography, maybe induced sex, you get that these people, they have a problem of sex dysfunction. One of the sex dysfunction is about erection. You get that you cannot be able to withstand the erection. Your penis is not going to erect simply because you are facing a problem. I want also to talk to all the youths that whenever they deal with these issues, they overdo it, the more in future they are going to have a problem. Another thing also the youths need to be, the men's youth, they need to hear is about whenever they use pornography induced sex is whereby maybe whenever they apply that, you get they can have insufficient of the sperm. So in future, if they are going to have the sex, they are going to have a problem of the sperm's production. So the level of sperms maybe you are going to produce is going to be low. Another issue is all about this is whereby maybe you get even they having them, we all our brain, we also the way we just work, it works by our testosterone hormones. They get lost whenever we see how we were being created. So if you are going to be exposed too much into induced pornography sex, you just get that you cannot be able to attract that even those with the women in the relations with the future. So whenever you expose yourself to these materials, just know that it's going to have a problem in your relationship. Many the issues I've been seeing, I've been even interacted, the people who have interacted with who are my most who have seen, maybe they have been complaining about sex dysfunction. It's because of it's about the pornography. So pornography, it has negative effects. We need to be aware, and whenever, if we want to have a good sex life, let us also abstain from pornography exposure, and pornography induced sex. Whenever we should do this, let us know that it's have a lot of the great harm it can cause to ourselves in terms of sex lifestyle. So if we want it, as we are talking this month, we want to talk to all men that if you want to enjoy your life in the future with your partner, make sure you deal away with these materials. Though it can be important, for those people maybe who are married, and for those people who are married, let them not overdo it. The more they are going to overdo it, obvious, their hormones are going to be affected, and maybe you are going to be somebody who you cannot be able to have an erection simply because you started having porno-induced sex. And also, whenever you expose yourself into pornography materials, just know that your brain is going to be used. So you cannot be able to have sex with those materials. So it is important on this month, as we are doing this awareness, let us know that sex lifestyle doesn't, pornography materials and porno-induced sex does not support our sex lifestyle at all. It's going to cause harm.
Thank you for that. And what is your take? Okay, how do power dynamics in both professional and personal lives impact communication and intimacy?
All right, thank you so much. I think power is something like it's also another cause that causes separation and divorce, and also it contributes a lot of men maybe to feel like as we have been trained, the men have been trained to have power, to have like to feel like they are the leaders in the family. Power dynamics, whenever you are, let us know that this in our professions, whatever you are, maybe if you are a boss, just know that you are a boss in the office. Whenever you go home, just know that you are a normal, you are a man. Like you can't go and impose the rules you do it at work, you impose it at home. It's going to be a problem. If you are somebody, maybe you are a man, you are a boss, just know that whenever you are going home, you are going there like a husband, like a husband of somebody. So you can't go and then you command people and then you want to have a good sex life. It cannot be. It is let us all about, as we are dealing with our power, let us understand that we have our Lord to pray, and we have our legacy to write as men. And the only thing that we can deal with our masculinity, it's when we define our laws, and it is not when we know the responsibilities that we pray. I know that the power dynamics can be a problem. If we know how to play our responsibility very well, that's when we can be able to know how we can balance the power. And also, we need also to know that whenever we deal with relationships, maybe in the family, we have the husband and the wife. We as men, we are very different, and we are so unique.
Thank you for that. And you've mentioned things like purpose, and what was ringing in my mind is religion. So what is the impact of religion in building and managing a very, very healthy relationship?
Okay, thank you. Religion is about religion is the source of the values.
The source of the
Values.
values. Okay.
As a man also you have values. You don't need to do everything people do. No, you have values. What defines you? What are some of your what are some of the things that you feel that is important? If you are if you come somebody you are a Christian, there's some of the things that you cannot tolerate. Even if someone is so beautiful, so some of the things you cannot tolerate. I've told you, men live by purpose. Men, we have a vision we have a vision. We have a mission to accomplish. We don't need to have everybody on board. We don't entertain anybody. And you can't have someone because so beautiful, you bring him on board. You destroy your vision. So whenever you have committed, and actually it is there, it is written, the research has been done. You can't have life without a vision. You can't have that level without a religion. The best way that you can have achieved the good life, go to the newspaper, go to the books, read. Those people who have a great relationships are those people who are committed in the religion. Where do we have many cases? We have done even the research in our institutes. The people who have a great relationships are those people who are committed because they have values. And the values, it is what you think important. If I can defend that, it's what you feel important, okay? So as a man also, if you want to have a great relationship, just know that how are you going to have how are you going to raise your standard? What source of how are you going to raise your standard? Your standard is going to come from your values, and these values also, most of the great values that you can have, you can get it from the Christian. Like now I'm an SDA. In SDA, there's some of the things I cannot tolerate. I don't drink. I don't go to club. Right? So if I get someone who is drinking, I don't drink. So you don't respect my values. Okay? There's some of the things I'm a Christian. I always, when I wake up in the morning, I pray. So I need to someone who can support me that. Remember, also the issue of vision also can contribute a lot of people to have the compatibility. Right? It can create people to have disagreement. So when you start a relationship, we start dating. When you want to have a good sex lifestyle, the key things is about religion. And also, let me tell you, and also I want to talk with a lot of passion on the generation that we are having right now. If all we can be able to entertain all the notions that's going around towards ourselves. The things that we got, I can just say we have some of the things that we have some of the good things. That's why you say that you want to have a great idea. Let's go read the old book. Why do they say that? It's because things cannot change. And let me tell you, you want to have a good relationship, you have to be extraordinary. You can't behave like an ordinary and then you expect an extraordinary life out. It cannot be. And the only way that you can be extraordinary is by having good values. And these good values, you can have it from the religion. Look to the Muslims. The great families they have. They are those people who are rooted in what? In their region. Look to if we can compare, Christianity, we have allowed everything to happen. Muslims, they have allowed, they have their way of doing things, and it has never changed. Go to the European countries. Their rules are very intact from the past. They don't drink and they have never. Do you think that you can go to the countries like Arabian countries, you take alcohol? They don't take alcohol. So whenever we talk about the old things, so they are so old, they are not modern. Right?
Very true. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can't say the oracle, and also this oracle, it contributes to our sex lifestyle. So whenever I have party, I don't take alcohol. I don't entertain that. Don't you think they call me that I'm from old school, but I know what I can do for myself. But I have a mission to do as a man. So as a man, never your standard should be made the standard. And in the religion, a true man is a man who is connected to the religion. Because that's where your values are going to be. Unless you want to be the average person. Average person is somebody who entertains everything. But if you want to have a legacy to build, you have to raise your standard. And that standard, those people who are around you, they have to live with that standard with no compromise at all.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. Japheth. Yeah, and as a cutting shot for the end of the session, if you were to come up with one constant law that will address will define a healthy relationship, how will that law look like?
Thank you. That the law that I can come with, maybe one of the laws that is very constant is whereby, like, I want to say that men should be respected. They should be respected in all what it takes. And also, as we do respect, let us mind other people. We don't need to be ourselves. Let us not be selfish. When I mean respect, it's not about like men to be respected. No, I mean like respect in whereby you give, you hear, you have your respect, and you also respect
Other people.
But men should be given respect that they deserve, so for them to work. And another, maybe if I can add one, you can
Please do. Another.
Another thing, another constant rule I can just say is that people should be remember that the key why we have relationships for procreation and also for continue to for helping ourselves when we are going to grow. We can have somebody who's going to do drugs. So if we want to, when we start a relationship, let us focus on our whole age or long-term goals. So don't marry because of pressure. Pressure, actually, people have made decisions.
Yeah, true.
The more you put pressure over relationship,
the wrong. Wrong. Okay.
It is going to be the
wrong decision.
Wrong decision.
Yeah.
So whenever people are going to have issues in a relationship, whenever men and women, let them not be selfish. That I want to be happy, you want to be happy. Happiness in a relationship, this one I don't want to forget about it. Happiness, it is an individual thing. My wife cannot give me happiness. No. How? I give happiness my time. There are times you can be annoyed with me, but I can tell her, my wife, I still love you. There are times I can be annoyed, my wife is there for me. So it's not about the thing like that my wife does not give me happiness. If I cannot do that, that's being a selfish. And the selfish has to solve the relations and they cannot get it. So nataka kusema hongera sana wanaume kwa siku ya leo. Na tujiweke mbele, na tukijiweka mbele tutatengeneza mahusiano yaliyo mzuri. Asante sana.
Yeah, karibu tena Japhet. Karibu, nimeshukuru. Yeah. And thank you our audience for your never ending support. You are part of the reason we keep on doing what we are doing. Thank you. Have a nice time.
Thank you.
Yeah, karibu tena. Karibu.